The one with Rachel's big kiss is the 20th episode of the 7th season of Friends. This is directed by Gary Halvorson, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And I think this is a really brilliant episode, so many really funny moments, and I will go through the two main parts of the narrative in turn. I will talk about Chandler and Ross, first of all, and then Rachel and the wonderful guest appearance with Winona Ryder. So we do have some focus on the wedding, and as I said, there will be spoilers as I go through this. And it starts off with Joey thinking his parents are invited to the wedding because Monica's parents are going to be there, Chandler's parents are going to be there, Ross's parents are going to be there, and Monica eventually says, fine, they can come, we'll rearrange the pins. Chandler doesn't have as many pins as Monica on the seating chart, so he's not happy about that. But she rearranges the pins, his parents can come, but now they don't want to come because they think that she hasn't actually invited them properly. So she ends up having to phone them and says that she really wants them to be there. And it was a funny phone call. Monica felt really uncomfortable. She was saying some really unkind things about the Postal Service and the Irish, and it just played out really well. And then we have Chandler visiting Rachel at work to rent a tux for his wedding, and she explains that some of the tuxes have been worn by celebrities at various events. They get returned, and he happens to see James Bond's tux. It's a tux worn by Pierce Brosnan. Chandler's very excited about this. He goes home and, well, actually before he goes home, he goes off on how he'll be really cool, he'll be 007, and then he asks if Monica will actually let him wear it, which I thought was a sudden drop from the high Chandler was on, but it was very cute and I really liked it. He then takes it home, and then Ross decides that he's going to wear Batman's tux. He's wearing Val Kilmer's tux, and it turns out that Val Kilmer didn't wear it to a Batman premiere. He wore it to the premiere of At First Sight, which is a film that I haven't seen, and suddenly it's no longer as cool. But to me, that's still cool. I would, if I were to wear a celebrity's dress or something that they'd rented, I wouldn't care what they wore it to. I mean, sure, if it was a premiere to a film I loved, it would make it a little bit extra special. But if I was wearing Helena Bonham Carter's dress that she wore to some event, I would be so ecstatic about that. I wouldn't care where she wore it. So, to me, I don't think the film itself devalues the tux, but clearly that's the situation here. And Chandler, unfortunately, can't get married in Pierce Brosnan's tux because it's a little bit too small. So he goes and tries on another tux, and it fits him, and it's a really nice tux. And Rachel explains, a little reluctantly, once Chandler insists he knows who returned the tux, it was from Diane Keaton, which I have to say was a delight. I'd be quite happy to wear Diane Keaton's cast-offs as well. And it is a little unrealistic because Diane Keaton's a little shorter than Matthew Perry, but nevertheless, it worked well for the narrative, and I thought it was pretty good fun. And then we come to the main narrative, and we have our guest appearance from Winona Ryder, playing Melissa Warburton. She comes into Central Park, she sees Rachel. Turns out they knew each other from their sorority days, and when Melissa leaves, Rachel ends up confirming to Monica that that's the girl she once kissed. And Rachel explains to the others that we ended up kissing for a bit, to which Ross responds, so that's two of my wives. I like that Ross has a humour about himself. I like that he can laugh at himself. I think that that's a really good quality. And Joey is obviously ecstatic about this, and he can't stop thinking about it, and Phoebe wants to know about it. So Rachel asks her, do you want to hear what actually happened or Joey's lewd version? To which Phoebe responds, Joey's, which I rather enjoyed. And she explains what happened, and Phoebe doesn't believe her. She says Rachel's too vanilla. It's not something Rachel would do. And Rachel says, well, come to dinner with me and Melissa, and I will get her to tell you and confirm, because Rachel doesn't want Phoebe to think that this is not something she would ever do. So they go to dinner, we're at the restaurant, really nice setting, really nice location, and Melissa doesn't know what Rachel is talking about. She has no memory of this at all. And she even said she doesn't have a good time remembering things that didn't happen. And obviously Rachel's irritated by this, but what else can she do? Melissa even explains maybe I passed out and you did stuff to me while I was sleeping, which is really, really awkward. And I feel like this is probably unpredictable. The element of surprise here is great. I've seen this episode many times, but I can't remember exactly how I felt when I first saw it. But I think what happens next, on 2 counts, is quite unpredictable. Because, in fact, for 3 reasons. Because just as they're about to leave, Rachel is so irritated that Melissa doesn't remember this that she kisses her. Rachel kisses Melissa to jog her memory. Really fabulous moment. Really strong element of surprise. But the second element of surprise is when Melissa says, "You love me." What? Melissa did remember this. She never stops thinking about it. I have to say, if that were true, she probably would have made more of an effort to get in touch with Rachel by this point. But nevertheless, she has these feelings for Rachel, and now she thinks that Rachel, because she gave her such a good kiss, huge compliment to Rachel, it must be true love. And of course, Rachel says that this is not the case. Melissa leaves, and just as Rachel turns around, Phoebe kisses her, because she wanted to see what all the fuss was about. So I think there are 3 things there. The initial kiss, the "you love me" statement, and then Phoebe kissing Rachel in the space of a couple of minutes. Just 3 elements of surprise that were fabulously executed and very, very well done. Really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the one with Rachel's big kiss is a really brilliant episode of Friends. I have no complaints about it. There's nothing that doesn't work. Really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. And while it's probably not one of my all-time favourite episodes, by which I mean if you said, name your top 5 Friends episodes, yes, it would be a little bit difficult. But if I were to do it, I'd probably never think of this episode. But watching it now, I can see it's pretty fabulous and ultimately a very fun, enjoyable experience. The one with Rachel's big kiss is a really brilliant episode of Friends.